Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 663 of the DrunkNerds podcast. As always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, man. It's like I've been playing bits and pieces of games this past week, but on top of that, it's been like sort of like a fairly chill work week. Nothing like overtly like crazy or overtly stressful and stuff. My boss is still out of town and stuff, but other than that, though, I mean, I haven't been really doing too much. It's just been one of those things. Like it's the lull between the NFL draft and stuff like that. Plus, you have WrestleMania stuff coming up as well.
Mm,
And on top of that, like I have a birthday tomorrow, so it's like I am definitely getting shit like done out of the way before that stuff. So it's
yeah,
it's been kind of like a wild lull of an April so far.
yeah, yeah. Well, happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you finally old enough to drink now.
I think I've been old enough to drink for the past like 20 something years now.
20 something. Jesus, how old are you? Oh my God. I know we're old. I know you're
I'm
that
joking,
old.
dude.
Scared me. Like, does time flown by that fast? I feel like I skipped a few years.
You just wake up and all of a sudden you're past your 40s, like, oh, no,
God.
no.
Oh no, I don't even know. Honestly, yeah, maybe that'd be better. I don't know. Wake up, like just wake me up when the PS6 comes out.
Oh God, yeah. We're gonna be around when that eventually comes out.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be wild. I mean, we were around for the end of the PS3 360 era. Now here we are for as far as the podcast goes. Now I mean, it's crazy. We're going into our third generation of Nintendo consoles.
Yeah. While we're recording this podcast, it's really crazy.
Yeah, we were like,
Because the Switch is gonna be pretty much at its end and stuff once the Switch 2 comes out.
yeah, yeah. It's great. It's great to think that we started this podcast like not too long after the Wii U came out.
Yep.
That was like we
I
started
know,
this like
right?
May 2013. So the
May
Wii U was like
2013,
6 months old.
and exactly, we were there when the whole aspects of like the PS4 stuff started going into
Xbox One.
fruition and stuff. The Xbox One major debacle.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to play, yeah, we have a hardcore game machine. It's called the Xbox 360. Oh boy, the days, man. I miss those days honestly. Like that was what people got mad about in games was the Connect.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know, right? They
Oh
got
man,
mad about like just mediocrity type of stuff, from and they still do to some extent in terms of like certain game stuff and also certain like hardware like questions and stuff. But trust me, listeners and stuff, this will tie into like what we're most likely going to be
right?
talking to in the show. But at the same point, it's just funny that as long as we have been recording this podcast and stuff, there are some things that have changed radically, but there are many that have remained the same in the
Yeah,
gaming industry.
yeah. It's yeah. The console wars are over mostly, and like that was like I think like the peak days of like the console wars. It felt like at least like I think maybe in our maybe I don't know maybe not peak days, but like at least feels like in my lifetime where like that was like the real peak of like the PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One, like E3 2013 was like to me like adult era maybe like peak console wars other than like the dumb like you arguing on the
Mm.
playground with your friends between GameCube like what's better Smash or Halo or whatever which come on it's obviously
Which is
fusion
kind of
fencing.
funny. Just like you kind of understood like some of the crux of like the main peak or something like that for the whole like console wars stuff, where it's like you literally have like episodes of certain sitcoms or something like, and I'm talking about that one sitcom or something like that where the one of the main characters or something has to decide between a PS4 and Xbox One or something like that, and he fucking like just gets both.
Yeah, not the worst idea. I did the same thing. Not the worst idea. Gears 5 was on the Xbox One.
Yeah, that's true.
Quantum Break was on the Xbox One.
Yeah, was on the Xbox One.
Great
True.
game. Underrated game. Got shit on because of the weird live action stuff, but great game. Great game. Anyways, no, yeah. Anyways,
Anyways, how
yeah.
are you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing fine, I guess. Yeah. Weird. Diving back into the going back into the good old days of video games and when we were still in our early 20s and I had no gray hair. I'm doing okay. Other than I was trying to look in the mirror. It feels like an extra gray hair's popped up. But it could be worse, could be better. It's Iowa. It's 57 degrees out right now, and I got the windows open because it's lovely outside. So that's where I'm at. with things. I'm drinking a beer right now. I drank a beer. I'm about to crack open this beer. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Gibbs, I gotta ask a question. I had a
Huh?
dream a few weeks ago, and I don't know if I might have asked you about it. If I did, I apologize. Um, how many times in your life have you woken up from a cold sweat because of Miltank from Pokemon Gold and Silver?
I don't think I ever have.
Okay, I had it like 2 weeks ago. I just had
You had
a
that 2 weeks
night.
ago?
I had a nightmare about Miltank from Pokemon Gold and Silver. It was like PTSD. I don't know why. It just randomly. I mean, I've had a lot of dreams about Miltank, but
Huh.
usually not. Doesn't usually go that way. She just kept hitting me with rollout over and over again.
I love the way you phrase that. It didn't really phrase that this way.
Yeah. This way was a little different, where she actually just hit me with rollout over and over again. I got stuck in the cycle, the vicious cycle of rollout from Pokemon Gold and Silver. I feel
It's
like
like you were
that,
living
like,
your preteen years.
yeah. I feel like that moment, like you either like overcame that and became a better human out of it, or like you just haven't recovered from it when you were a child. Like you had to be there for it. When you're like we were like 9 years old when that came out, and like we thought we knew Pokemon, and then we just see this fucking cow, and all of a sudden it hits rollout, and you're like, what? And then next thing you know, it's like 3 hours later has gone by, and like either you're a new man, or maybe this is why Souls likes are so popular now, and like with millennials and shit, is because we beat Miltank. You think that's it? And like the ones that didn't are just playing cozy games nowadays.
You know what? I'm not sure. I mean, you may have something there, but what's really funny is like you either you either go to face like a cozy game or someone play that like after playing Pokemon Gold or Silver or whatever the hell back then, or you find out that hey, maybe you need to go to this NPC character, trade for a Machop and stuff, and then just
No, that's
roll
fucking
over the
dumb.
Miltank.
No, we don't do that. Gables, you know my rule about my six man Pokemon team. I
Huh?
go off vibes. I want Fido. I want the Chonk.
Okay.
I gotta have
Okay.
Charmander in there. Gotta have a
Okay.
Pidgey. Then just give me, I don't know, is Chikorita involved? Can I have Chikorita? I'll take Chikorita. And the six type, I don't know. Give me one of the big ones. I'll take one of those.
That could be for so many different Pokemon.
I know.
You
Just give
just
me one of the big
described the
ones.
last one.
I don't know.
Okay,
Lapras?
let's just
I
give him
don't
a
know.
Snorlax and let's have him at
That's
it.
fine. I'll learn to play a flute. I'll gain a skill out of it. No, I don't know. That was a weird intro. That was weird. What a weird way to start the show. This is what happens. We literally started the show after midnight my time, Central Time. So this is where I'm at right now. I've been up since 6:30. I don't know why. I think I was just so excited, Gables. Like on the weekend, I get to go to Starbucks days. So I was
Yeah.
so excited about going to Starbucks. It's not, my addiction is not great. But I only go on my days off, and I was so excited. I think I just could not go back to sleep. And I'm like, Starbucks is open. So I went at like 6:45, and it was amazing. And I just didn't go back to sleep. Yeah, so I've been up for a while now. Maybe I'm just a little sleep deprived. Who knows? Well, I'll worry about it later. But yeah, anyways, this is a video game podcast, I swear, where every week we get together and talk about video games and everything we love and hate about them. Gables and I, we've been doing this for almost 13 years now. We're two guys. We just do this for fun. We have full-time jobs, so we pay for our own games. We have full-time, like I said, we have full-time jobs. We play games when we can. So, yeah. So we don't have a Patreon. There's no way to directly support us as far as that goes. But we are now YouTube partners, I believe is what we are. So we have 500 subscribers recently. So now there are you can subscribe to, there's premium things you can sign up like as low as $1. We don't have anything to give you, as far as other than just this podcast. But if you want to sign up for that, there's down there at the bottom somewhere. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can subscribe or give us the premium thing on there. And that would, if you want to support us that way, we'll take the 60% that YouTube doesn't take from us on that. But yeah, that's really the only way to support us. Otherwise, really honestly, the best thing to do is just continue to watch the shows, download the podcast, 5 stars, or if you listen to the podcast on whatever podcast service you're on. Go to the other places to subscribe to us on there. Big one, YouTube, to help us get to 1,000, where we can actually make some ad revenue. Maybe we can make 30 cents a podcast on this. And just support us that way. Like I said, tell your friends, subscribe, 5 stars, whatever the review thing is on the podcast service. Just do that on there. It helps with the algorithm. And share it with your friends. That's the best way to help us out. But anyways, Gables, let's jump into this. You know what? I'm gonna go a little out of order here. Usually I put the show notes in order, but I'm gonna start off a little different here, Gables. We already kind of talked about.
Okay.
You kind of touched upon it already. Let's just jump into some of the Nintendo stuff here. Not really a lot new stuff going on. It's just kind of a lot of we're waiting. The tariff stuff's been pushed back, and I don't even like. So I don't even know what to talk about on that because just like I feel like it can change. Like it's been delayed 90 days, but I feel like it can change 6,000 more times between now and the next podcast. So I'm like, I don't know. I like it. I don't even want to like, what could the price be type of thing, or what can they do here? Who the fuck knows? I don't know. Unless Gables, you know something I don't know. I know who the fuck knows. But I feel I just kind of like threw like this is almost like a Nintendo corner of news here because there's been a lot of like updates and just like way more frustration. I talked about like this last week. My biggest frustration with like the pricing stuff was just the way Nintendo did it. It just kind of felt like kind of like cowardly of like we don't want to tell you, we like, so we're just gonna like let you find out, you know, we're gonna let you find out we broke grandma's vase instead of just telling you we broke grandma's vase type thing. And that we're just like way more agitated that way, and just like I said, like trying like, and then obviously going on the internet and like all these different countries, like I said last week, all these different countries have different price points and price styles and everything like that, and there's all the information coming out, so everybody's trying to learn shit on the fly. So people are like confusing things with other things, and like, oh, it's actually $90 for physical here in the U.S. Oh no, it's actually $80. But it's like, I don't know. Anyways, it was very frustrating the way they did it. It was even dumber about all that is come to find out that on the day that they did this, the direct on Wednesday, they had like the in person. They had a bunch of content creators and journalists and stuff go play the Switch 2, and they all did a bunch of these like CNBC, Nintendo Life, GameSpot, IGN, all these places did interviews after they played the games and talked to Nintendo and like Doug Bowser and a few other people. But they were embargoed on all this information that we wanted until Monday. So it's like you had like everybody, like all the questions were asked, and like we're all frustrated out there. What the fuck's going on? And they had all the answers all along. They just no one was allowed to like give out the answers until Monday. So it was very frustrating. But anyways, it's still been more chaos. Like I remember, like I sent you the article. Like someone at Nintendo said that like the Switch 2 like upgrades of Switch 1 games didn't actually have the game on the cart, or didn't have the upgrade on the cart or whatever. Turns out that's actually not true. They will have the Switch 2 editions of like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, all those games will have the upgrade and the base game on the cart. But the wild thing, Gables, about all this is Breath of the Wild, the Switch 2 edition, will not include the DLC.
Yeah, that's really crazy to think about.
So, Gables, if you want to buy...
that's really crazy.
So, if you want to buy the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild, you have to pay $70 for an 8-year-old game, and then pay additional $20 to then buy the DLC. So, it's $90.
Man, that is just freaking nuts. It probably is like much more cheaper for people who already have Breath of the Wild and the DLC stuff just to pay the whatever the cost is for the.
Yeah, but if you don't own Breath of the Wild or whatever, like, so. Yeah,
if you don't, then you're going to be shelling out like an additional like $90 just for the whole entire content of a 7-8-year-old game.
Yeah, for over 8-year-old game. Yeah,
that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I read that. Like, why are we doing like? It's just like I don't know. These aren't like major, like this isn't like fuck this I'm out type of situations. It's just like one more like, it's just a death by 1,000 cut type thing here. Or like I'm not even trying to say like this thing's dead in the water. But it's just like, man, it's just like it's just another little cut, another little paper cut, like one more little, like what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? And then on top of that, we found out welcome tour is $10, Gables.
Yeah, the whole initial thing that should have been in the pack end to begin with is all of a sudden a $10 freaking separate buy on the digital storefront. That is just a stupid idea. And it's pretty much the same type of feel that Reggie back in the day fought with Nintendo for just to get a pack-in game for the freaking Wii. The Nintendo wanted you to pay separately for Wii Sports. And so this is like almost that same type of logic, only without somebody telling Nintendo no, or hey, maybe this would be a better idea to do this. It kind of leaves Nintendo to their own devices, and obviously a $10 separate thing for a freaking tutorial.
Yeah, it's wild to think like there's part of me like the multiverse that was real. That's one of the universes I want to go to, of like the universe where like Wii Sports was not a packing game. Like I still think the Wii probably would have been very successful, but I wonder like how if I'm curious like what would happen in that universe of like if the Wii Sports was like a game, like how many people would actually would have bought in it, like to like make it like as big of like like that thing was like, like it was like Spice Girls, like in sync, like type of popularity, like it took over everything, like it was like the hot thing for a while there. It's like I wonder like how big of a thing that, I aged myself with the in sync and the Spice Girls thing, didn't I?
Yeah, that's late 90s.
Yeah, I know. I just like, I don't know why Spice Girls popped my head first. I don't know why. That was the first thing that popped my head. That's like that's all I got. We're going with that one. I'm like brain, think of a thing. It's like Baby Spice. Got it. Cool. Go with that one. Couldn't you give me Sporty Spice? Had to give me, or Scary Spice. Had to give me Baby. Whatever. I've lost it. Man, this is what happens. I'm like a gremlin. It's like the movie Gremlins. Like I'm a mogwai. You cannot let me podcast after midnight. This is what happens, Gables. I'm like I have lost it going into we're 15 minutes of this fucking podcast. Anyways, yeah, it's just like I know it's only $10, but it's just another, like I said, another little paper cut here. I was like, you guys called it a tech demo. You couldn't even lie to us in like the presentation of this thing. You called it a tech demo. And you're charging it for it, and it's like I was like, oh, it's only, I get it, it's only $10, but it's just like on top of everything else, it's just like one more. It's just so frustrating of this whole. I forgot to silence my phone. My bad. And then
Dude, and you want
go ahead.
and it's like you want to know what's really frustrating about it. It's like we've seen examples from like other console makers and stuff like that have pack-in games and stuff that are fairly fantastic that don't cost anything and stuff, and you know, it just feels like almost of a sense of like just an over like just an not like an overthinking like process from Nintendo, but it just feels like an overly kind of greedy moment and stuff like that from Nintendo. Because you look at the example, say with the PS5, right, with like Astro Bot being a pack-in game, and like people absolutely love playing that pack-in game, and it having been so popular to the extent where it gets its own standalone stuff.
Mm,
Whereas Nintendo, for this game, it's like, we know it's a glorified tech demo. This definitely would have been something we would have appreciated, maybe as a novelty to do once on the Switch 2, but it's just the fact that you have to pay for a tech demo like this is just so stupid, in my
yeah,
opinion. And it's so ass backwards in terms of logic,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But
It's just like it's not even like on top of that. It's just like it's not even a game. It's not like it's barely anything. It's a manual. Like they're literally like making you buy this thing to like teach you how they made the thing.
dude, it would be like buying something from IKEA, right? And there's no papers or anything for you to put together your brand new like chair or your desk or whatsoever and stuff. And then they just have this little thing like on their websites. Oh, hey, you want to go through and learn how to put this together? Here, pay this amount of cost or something like that to look at a freaking manual
Yeah,
online.
yeah. Yeah, it was like there's a QR code in the box, and you gotta like pay $5 to, like you gotta sign up for a subscription to IKEA to get the manual or something. Yeah,
Yep,
it's just like I don't know, like it's just like it's not a major deal. It's just like it's a bigger deal that they charge you for than if this thing was in here, because I feel like this game feels like nothing, barely anything, and like this thing would come in here, we'd all like kind of like I'm like honestly, if this thing was a packing thing, I'd probably fuck with it for like 5 minutes and then never touch it again, and
mm-hmm.
that would be the end of it. And it's just like it's I don't know. This is like we bitch about 1-2 switch being like not being a packing thing, and I'm like this is like worse. Like at least 1-2 switch was like a
Mm-hmm.
game. It's like honestly like I feel like an idiot for ever complaining about one. Like maybe that was the plan. It's like hey, you guys all made fun of 1-2 switch. We're gonna make you feel like bigger idiots, but we're gonna charge you for a tech demo. And like you know what? Stupidly enough, it's probably gonna sell like that's probably the way I look at it is like this thing is probably gonna sell a couple million units, and we're gonna make I don't know 10 times 2 million, was it like 20 million or whatever. That's the way they're gonna look at that. I don't know if I did the math right on that one. Yeah, that's right. Like I guess like yeah, like it sounds like a lot of money to us, but to the grand scheme of things, like Nintendo, it's like 20 million is like $20 us. It's like it's barely anything. I don't know. It's fucking. It's just wild. And then last but not least here, Joy-Con 2s, which honestly, Gables, the worst thing about Joy-Cons, they're just called Joy-Con 2s. What is so unimaginative about this fucking thing? This might be the laziest Nintendo console ever made. I don't know. I just
Hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know about that. I'm not too sure about the laziest console, but at the same point, it's like a lot of the things are just safe. like super safe.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know about the Joy Cons not having like say Hall on effect like type of joysticks and stuff, and that these current joysticks are some a little bit bigger and stuff. That's all we pretty much know. Ah, but other than that, though, there really hasn't been too much controversy in terms of like their controllers
Yeah.
yet.
This is like when I met somebody one time a long time ago, and they were the fifth. Like, and I'm like, man, really? Like, there's other names out there. It's like, how many people are like naming their kids like 5 times over? It's just wild to me. It's like I feel like we should stop at 3. Anyways, um, I'll make an executive order for that one. I'm gonna stop at 3. But anyways, Joy-Con 2s, they will not have Hall effect sticks in them. So apparently they whatever the design they have made, they feel will obviously help with the drift. But I don't know. I'm curious. Like, obviously, it's gonna be, it's one of those things we're probably not gonna know for 6 months if this thing's out. Because I don't remember drift being a major ordeal until it felt like really like 9 months to a year after the Switch came out. Where you could be totally wrong about it, but I remember not hearing anything about it until like quite a ways out after after the Switch was out. But the drift.
I started hearing about it like towards like the first couple of months of like
Was it? Okay,
people
maybe it was.
owning it in terms of that. I mean, there were some friends I remember like telling me like about them having like stick drift or something like that after buying their Switch like about 2 months later or some shit like that.
Yeah,
So it's like it was varied in
yeah,
terms of how much we knew about the Joy-Con drift at the time and stuff, but it's kind of
yeah.
curious to see if that'll happen again for this system.
Yeah, I think maybe for me too, it's more a personal thing because like I think 95% of the time I played the Switch, I used the Pro controller. So, um, I never had, oddly enough, the Pro controller was always been, I still have my day one Pro controller and that thing,
Yep.
still has no drift. Like it's definitely like it feels 8 years old. It's got a lot of use out of it, but like it doesn't have drift at all. So which is crazy enough to think. But like I don't know, like it's crazy. Like I have like I bought a couple 8-bit Do controllers that like these things are like good quality. They're like a third of the price or half the price as like the like Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo controllers are. And it's like they have the Hall effects in them and like they are like really well made controllers. It's just surprising me. Like man, like 8-bit like they are like man, they have some really high quality controllers and they're vastly cheaper than the other ones are. So but
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and some of the designs are pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Gibbles, is there anything else like Nintendo related that's gonna happen this week that like maybe we didn't touch upon here that you can think of?
In terms of what we've touched upon, I mean, not really that I'm aware of. I mean, we pretty much are just nonstop having to switch to information and stuff over the past week, but nothing crazy, crazy.
Yeah, I just wonder. I'm hoping that maybe we get something this week as far as like pre-order stuff. I want almost feel like maybe we should because like
Yes.
there is that direct on Thursday for Mario Kart. And that's kind of like the one last big thing, like at least that we know of until launch. So I feel like even like going into that would be nice to have like at least an idea of like what's going to happen with pre-orders, price point, stuff like that. Obviously, it is out of their controls what's going to happen with tariffs and all that, but it'd be nice to like have a general idea, or if like they're going to delay this thing, or like what's going to happen. Um, it'd just be weird to have a big direct with this big like, hey, here's this big selling point for the Switch too. By the way, you can't buy it yet. But
Ah,
yeah, I don't know. Like I keep hearing people say like, and obviously it's like I shouldn't say I keep. I've heard a few people mention like, um, this is their Xbox One moment, and I disagree with that one.
no.
I think the games are like so far the games look pretty solid for the first 6 months, and I think also on top of that like the honestly what hurt Xbox One more than anything was the PS4 like coming out there and like they just like threw all the shade at fucking Xbox for like they did that E3 presentation. They just roasted. It was just, I mean, they barely even talked about their own games. They just roasted Xbox for an hour. And it was just like, hey,
Yep.
game sharing. Hey, you can trade in your games. Hey, we don't have to be online to play things. And it's just like that was what hurt them. It was like and like Nintendo is like they are like they're in the same ballpark as PlayStation and Xbox, but they're not they're not they're kind of in their own thing. They're a thing of amongst themselves as far as like it's like they there's a big enough base there of like they'll be fine. And I honestly I feel like a lot of people it's one of those things though like it's so hard to gauge things sometimes too, because we are the hardcore of the gaming audience of like, we read a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of stuff as well, and like, it's just hard to like, hey, are these like the hardcore, like, are these like the crazy angry gamers are gonna be mad about everything, or like, what's gonna, like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. That's why I like to read like the Circana reports every month, because it kind of gives you like a general idea of like how like the real gaming audience is, and it's not like the online gaming audience type of thing. And like, I don't know. The real thing is like the mom and dad that had no clue that the Switch 2 was even happening, and they just go to they go to Walmart or Target, or they go online and they see, oh, the Switch 2's out. Oh wow, it's $450. Is like the, oh, never mind, or oh, okay, I'll buy that right away type of thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're not gonna really fully know for a while on like any of this. So maybe I wonder how many people, like casual people, even know about all the hubbub right now about like welcome tour, $450, the fucking all the price point stuff. Like, I'm curious how many people actually know about that stuff. But anyways, Gables, let's move on here. This is kind of a fun little thing here. Like, I thought it was very weird that was happening today. I like kept double checking it throughout the week. I'm like, why are they doing this on Saturday? Marathon, the Bungie game. We got the full kind of like blowout thing. They did like a showcase today, as of recording this on Saturday. Got a bunch of updates. Finally got some gameplay, understanding how this whole thing's gonna work. Is coming on September 23rd. This will. It's not gonna be a $70 game. I have to sneeze really bad, and it's like I'm fighting it, but it's not going great. I'm losing the fight right now. It's not a full price game, but they did say it will be a premium title. So I'm assuming another $40 game, give or take, on that one. There will be an alpha that starts on April 23rd. I believe it goes to like early May. You can go and sign up for the alpha right now. I went ahead and signed up for the alpha, so hopefully I can get into that. But anyways, we got a bunch of gameplay on this one. They showed some like people playing the game, like a few rounds of the game. I gotta say, Gibbles, this game, when I started watching this thing, I audibly like went, oh my, like I put my hand on my chest. I'm like, this is the art style in this game is breathtaking. It is beautiful. It is this like, I don't understand. I don't even know how to describe it. It is like realistic cell shading. Like they do some stuff with some colors and this where I'm like, it's like, I don't understand it. It is absolutely, this is like one of the coolest art designs I've ever seen for a video game. Just how beautiful this game is. But they just like make all the colors just pop. Like they do some shit with some lime green in there where I'm like, oh my God, this thing is gorgeous. But anyways, you will have teams of up to 3 with up to 18 players in a game. It's a PvE game. It's an extraction shooter where you will have you're trying to lose as much as possible and escape, with your team. What's kind of cool about this, so I'm curious how it's going to work exactly, but like basically, like if you die in the game, whatever you like had when you died, like if you die and you don't escape, you take nothing with you. But if you escape the game, you take all that shit and you can take it on to the next game. So like that's how you got to keep your stuff. I have no idea. Like I don't think I watched a good chunk of it. I didn't watch all of it because it was like a lot of sitting and just talking. So at a certain point, I was kind of like, it was like an hour plus long. But I was reading some articles about it. Like they had like a big preview event last week for it. But anyways, they said like some of the PvE part of it is like there are like actual enemies running around the world, and there's also creatures on the planet that are like they can fight you and stuff like that. And the problem with that is like you can fight them and like potentially get more stuff from fighting them, but also will give away your point on the map, and then like other enemies come fight you. Like I mentioned, like if like your teammates can also revive you and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like they said, there's gonna be I think 3 maps at launch. There's gonna be a 4th one shortly after. They're gonna have like seasonal stuff all throughout. But yeah, I went going this thing. I was like extremely negative on like just the whole like this whole marathon idea. Like obviously not seeing it. Then I watched this and I'm like, obviously it could ultimately mean nothing, but I was blown away by just like the visuals of this. And I cannot wait actually to like jump into this alpha. Hopefully, I'm hoping I get an invite. I haven't officially got one yet. I don't know if everybody gets one, but I signed up for it anyways. It's pretty quick and easy to do. It takes a couple minutes. But yeah, I was blown away by like just kind of the art design of it. Obviously, like Bungie, like I mean, you played hundreds of hours of Destiny. Like I mean, there's a lot of things you complain about Destiny. The gameplay is not one of them. Those games,
No.
the shooting mechanics are fantastic. The platforming, the jumping around, like they nailed the gameplay. It was like a lot. They had a lot of issues. Another cool thing as well. They mentioned like so there are like character. Every character has like different abilities. The great thing too is like they're called runners. On your teams, everybody you can have 3 people be the same runner. So it's not like you can have one of each. So that's cool as well. And I said during the alpha, there's gonna be 4 different playable characters during the alpha, and there'll be more on there. And then sounds like as they go, they'll add more maps and more characters and stuff like that. But yeah, I was blown away by this Gables. What was I mean, I don't know how much I know you had to work today. I don't know how much you get to see of this, but what's your thoughts on Marathon?
My thoughts of the initial gameplay reveal of Marathon. I mean, I skimmed through a lot of that various live stream that happened earlier on today. It was a 3 hour live stream. I think there was like maybe
Three
just an
hours?
hour of it that was like,
Okay.
well, it was an hour of it that you can actually see some bit of gameplay and stuff, some bit of like people playing and, some of the potential stuff that you could potentially do and stuff. And the couple of thoughts that I had going through, I mean, Bungie and the gameplay stuff, the mechanics for their first person shooter stuff. I mean, they obviously have a knack to making great first person shooters. Like in terms of the gameplay stuff, in terms
Yeah.
of like how you get to confront like your opponents and stuff, and like how smooth some of the transitions are when you go and you navigate around certain areas and stuff, and look at various enemies and stuff, or snipe someone from across the map, or this or that. But in terms of the structure of style, it really is kind of like weird and stuff like that. Just seeing certain aspects that I recognize from like playing a lot of time with Destiny. Like I've played literally like over like 500 some odd hours. I mean, and that's between Destiny 2 and also the original Destiny. I'm pretty much am sure I probably have played over 500 hours when I think about it because I think it was like 150 some odd hours in Destiny 1 and then like between the PS4 and PS5 versions of Destiny 2, it's at least over 500. But I'm kind of disappointed that it's an extraction shooter
Hmm.
in that's core aspect. I kind of feel like from a lot of the things that I have seen, I think there are a lot of things that it does borrow a lot from Destiny. I wouldn't say it's complete like reskin of like say Destiny. I mean, no, there are some aspects of it that are different, but at the same point, some of the aspects of it kind of felt boring to me. And I'm not talking about the visual style. I'm not talking about the gameplay and stuff. It's just a lot. I think it ties in a lot with me is because I've played extraction shooters, right? And yet the core hook and the gameplay and the looping of what you want to do inside of this extraction shooter is what kind of lures you in to want to play more of it. And because of this is in early alpha footage and stuff, and we don't know a lot of the initial thing that Bungie's going to do between now and the release of it come September, there were just some aspects that just kind of fell flat with me. And on top of that, I mean, I'm not questioning in terms of like say what they do for their gameplay, for their combat, and quite honestly, I'm not questioning in terms of like what they initially are trying to build, but at the same time, it just kind of felt like a Neon Destiny to me, to where it's just like there are definitely things that they have borrowed from their past works, but at the same time, it kind of struggles to differentiate itself like a lot in terms of separating itself away from its past projects.
Hmm.
But we still have a lot of time between now and the launch date to actually see what else that they're going to go and add on and like if there's going to be even more stuff that I'm going to want to go into. I mean, there wasn't even like any type of confirmation for any type of single player stuff. It's just mostly
No,
a
it's online only.
PvP versus E game. So
Yeah.
it's like yeah, if it's online only and stuff like that, I mean, it's basically going to be kind of like how what Destiny does with like their PvP stuff,
Yeah.
where there are great good amount of people that love playing the PvP stuff, but uh, I don't know. I'm just really mixed about it, and plus some of the aspects of it seems kind of boring to me.
Okay.
But that's
Yeah.
just me.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like for me, like it's I'm not a like multiplayer games, especially shooters, are usually not my thing. One just because I like playing them, I'm just not very good at them. So it's like, well, like it's one of those things where you just after like you get fucked up a bunch of times. It's like all right, I'm just gonna kind of move on after a while. Like Fortnite's like the one I'm like somewhat decent at. Um,
Yeah,
but like not even like that win. I did all Gables by the way. I did play a decent amount of Fortnite today. Um, I
yeah,
didn't know this until this morning. Sabrina Carpenter's in Fortnite, and I bought Sabrina
Oh,
Carpenter.
there
So
you go.
it's pretty fucking sweet. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
of course you did.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah. By the way, Sabrina Carpenter was my I got my YouTube music thing, and my most listened to artist for the first quarter of 2025 was Sabrina Carpenter. So, but
Yeah, no,
anyways, music fucking slaps, man. Anyways, marathon. That's what we're talking about. I don't know. Like obviously, like I don't know, like who the fuck knows? I'm so bad about trying to predict these things anymore. Like obviously, I always talk about like these things to do is predict this thing's gonna fail or it's whatever. But it's like I don't know. Like, I went on for months talking about how like Helldivers 2. It's ridiculous for charging $40 for this. This should be a PS Plus game. They should be giving this be free to play. And then it's like the biggest success of last year. And then like I don't know. And then like obviously like everybody's like, oh, they're like people are already calling this Concord 2, and it's just like I don't know. It's like did we forget about like I don't know. Like Concord is its own thing. You cannot compare Concord to anything else. That is its own disaster. Like this is Bungie. Like yes, we know Bungie's had some issues the last couple of years with like the way Destiny 2 has been going. But like we know they can make a quality game, and like I'm not concerned at all. I feel like this game like if it's not fantastic as far as the gameplay goes, it's like that would be disappointing to me. Like the standard is fantastic. Obviously, like what's the long term thing that's gonna keep people coming back for? Like that's gonna be the biggest issue. Like I don't know, like I'm someone that like I went from like Helldivers 2, like this game, how dare they charge $40 for this? Like I put over 40 hours into it and loved it. So I don't know. I'm more willing. I'm willing to eat shit on this stuff. But I don't know. I was blown away by it. Like like I said, I can't wait to play the alpha. And like obviously the issue is like this might be a little harder being like it's being like looks a lot more team based. For like Helldivers, like I was like Helldivers 2, like I was able to like play by myself, like jump into other people's games and not have to communicate with anybody. Or like it was easy just to ping things, you know, and I actually have to like talk on the headset because I don't want to talk to people on the internet. It just sounds like an awful time. But I don't know. Like I just the more I've seen of this, and maybe it's like all like because of the visual and the art style of this, but everything about it, like I loved all this, and like I do like extraction shooters. Just the issue for me is like consistently having people to play with, and like yeah, like obviously the price point thing could be a major variable for a lot of people, but also like I think it's like I was talking about Nintendo stuff, right? Like sometimes like we don't realize what that Bungie name could mean to the people that like there's a lot of people out there that just play like they don't actually like read and pay attention to a lot of shit, but they play like a ton of video games. Like my dad and my sister play more games every year than me, but they only play one game and it's Warzone. And it's just like I have a lot of friends like that are like that too. Like they play like one or two games every year, but they play those 1 or 2 games more than I play all my other games combined. And I'll play like 30, 40 games a year. And like I said, they'll play fucking 3 weeks or 4 weeks of Call of Duty every year, and like that's it. So I mean, and marathon can easily be that thing. It's obviously it's like it's one of the hardest spaces to get into is the kind of those forever games. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I don't know. I thought what I saw of it looked fantastic, and I have no doubt the game is at least going to be great. But Gables, this has been on the thing here. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this. This has been on the dock for a couple weeks now. We got to talk about it, Gables. It is the February Circana report. This is the top 20 selling games in the United States for the month of February. This is based off dollar sales, not individual units. So
Right.
Gables, I know it's been a little bit now, but February, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brand new games for the month of February that made it in the top 20. They're actually all in the top 8. You have any predictions of what's in there? I know it's been a little bit.
Yeah, I know it's been a little bit and stuff like that. Well,
You bought one
I
of
can
them.
think of one. I know I have bought one of them, like Monster Hunter Wilds. I know it's one of them.
Yeah. Where would you think that would be?
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah.
God, I'd probably think it'd be like. I think it'd probably be like in the top 5. I'm gonna go ahead and say probably number 2.
Number 1.
Number 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phew.
Yeah. So, any other predictions on this one, Gills?
To be perfectly honest with you, I mean, other than Monster Hunter Wilds, man, I mean, I did not really get a lot of games in February.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to run through this real fast here. So we'll start at number 20 here. We have Astrobot, number 20. All right. Seen it in there.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, number 19. Number 18, Elden Ring. We're starting to see some of these older, like these ones that have been around for these legacy games, starting to slip a little bit here. Number 17, I was just talking about this, Helldivers 2. Number 16, College Football 25. Number 15, Hogwarts Legacy. Number 14, Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh,
Huh?
interesting. It was actually number 7 in January. Did that?
That's really weird. I don't know why that's all
Well,
of a
I
sudden
know.
like
Well,
selling
Red Dead Redemption
crazy.
1 came to Steam earlier this year, so maybe that's why, and people just decided to play Red Dead Redemption 2 or something. I don't know.
Okay, if it came to Steam, then yeah,
Well,
maybe
no,
that
the
makes a
first
lot of
one came
more
to Steam.
sense.
This is the second one though, but I'm wondering if maybe people playing the first one on Steam got people to buy the second one or something.
Huh.
Hard to say. Like I said, it's been a couple months on these. Number 13, Spider-Man 2. Number 12, EA Sports FC 25. Number 11, Minecraft. I am surprised. I cannot wait to see when we read the April Circana reports to see where Minecraft is now, because Minecraft has had a huge bump in gameplay and players the last couple weeks now. Madden NFL 25 at number 10. Gables, we're back at it now. Take-Two has started giving out started giving out data again on digital sales. For a long time, they stopped doing it.
Mm.
So for a long time, we have not seen a lot of Take-Two games in here. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 games in the top 9. I believe we have, that's why Red Dead Redemption 2 was actually in the top. That's why it was in there, because it was the previous month it was not, because we didn't have digital numbers on it. So maybe it's just been in there this whole time. We didn't know it. But yeah, number 9, Gables, GTA 5.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah. The before that, in January, is number 4. So, pretty crazy. Number 8, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That was one of the other new games. One of the other new games, one game I love, number 7, Avowed, which is awesome, because that was a game on Game Pass too. So that means people are buying it on Steam and stuff. Number 6, finally being taken down off number 1, Black Ops 6. Number 5, NBA 2K25. That was number 2 the previous month. That's a Take-Two game. The next game is also a Take-Two game. Brand new game. Number 4, PGA Tour 2K25. Number 3, another Take-Two game. A brand new game on here. Civilization 7. Number 2, brand new game. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And then number 1, like we talked about,
right.
Monster Hunter Wild. So kind of a fun little month here. February, pretty packed. We talked about this. Like, February is pretty packed. There were, like I said, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brand new games in the month of February, and there's probably a couple in there that just didn't make the list that I'm not even thinking about. But pretty cool little month there. I like that. Like, it's kind of fun to see. And now that we have Take-Two back on the docket here, it's gonna. I mean, Take-Two had more spots than anybody. So, and first time in a while, Gables. Mario Kart is not on the list.
Yeah. God, Mario Kart 8 is nowhere to be seen.
I wonder if Nintendo saw this Circana report and it's like, all right, time to announce Switch 2. That's probably what happened here. I mean, that's embarrassing. You had more Sega games in the top 20 than you had Nintendo. Man.
Yeah, that's a different change.
Yeah, that's embarrassing for them. Oof. But anyways, Gibbs, let's jump into what we've been playing. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first, buddy?
I want to hear what you've been playing.
All right. I've only been playing one game. I talked about it a little bit last week, just for a few seconds. I did play and I did finish South of Midnight.
Okay.
This is obviously it's a game by Compulsion Games. It's on Game Pass. I did pay the $10 thing to get it like 5 days early, because I was off work Thursday, Friday last week, and I think it was like coming out on the 8th, and I was like, well, like I'm off on the 3rd and the 4th, and it comes like if I pay $10, I get it on the 3rd. So I played it for a few hours, and I had like some family shit going on last week, and so I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. So I did play through it this week, and I played like a good few hours of it last weekend, and then I beat it. Actually finished up today. And I was completely blown away by this game. Like, it's not like a perfect game by far at all, but I really, really was blown away by the production, the art design of this game, the characters, the voice acting, like everything about, like, I love that. Like, I will say it feels like I've only played a few hours of like Psychonauts 2. But like when I played of it, it feels like this was like very much and heavily inspired by like Psychonauts. Where like, and then some of the best part, like what's great about this is like the lore of the game, of like learning the lore of like the Deep South and stuff like that. They have their own folklore, you know, kind of like almost like Greek mythology type of stuff, and like kind of like hearing these stories. And it's like this is like where the Psychonauts stuff comes in and play, where like, you're going in, like you're learning the backstories of how these like lores came to be, and like basically like Two-Toe Tom, like how he went from like this tiny alligator, like this regular sized alligator, to a gigantic, the size of like a small island alligator, and then like you learn his backstory, and like it's actually a very like, I was honestly surprised by like, not like this isn't like a rated M game, but like how like dark and like sad some of this, like it's not a very like as beautiful and like design is, the music and everything about it is, like some of the stuff they cover, it can be pretty deep and pretty dark at points at times, and like just learning the backstory of like Two-Toe Tom and like all that, and like and then the boss fights at the end of like you end up like fighting a lot of these people, and then like Hug and Molly and stuff like that, like are just like, I really loved all like the parts of like, and like the platforming of like getting to these parts. Obviously the biggest glaring issue with this game is the combat. Um, it's not bad, it's not terrible or anything like that. It's just like it's kind of one note, and like they add like some skills to it like throughout the game, but I feel like they don't ultimately like change much. It's just like a lot of tapping X, and then every now and then you have like cooldowns on your your triggers, for like different attacks. So you have like a push attack. You have like a pull one where you can pull them towards you. You have another one where like you can like stun them, and like when you hit them it does more damage. And you have another one where like you have this little like doll character that comes to life named Crouton, who will go and like he'll like possess an enemy and they'll fight for you, for like a short amount of time. And like for the most part, but it's just like it's very, it does not really change a lot throughout the game, and they don't introduce a lot of new enemies, so it gets very like mundane, and like you just kind of get like there's a like the pattern, and you get through them real quickly. Luckily, it's like it doesn't like you spend a decent enough time in the game like doing combat, but it's not enough where like it's like the bulk of the game. So like I guess I did look in the accessibility sections, and you can't just like straight up skip the combat parts except for the boss battles. And I also would say for people out there, like play a couple chapters. Like there's 14 chapters, and it's like I think it took me 9.5, 10 hours to beat, and I did a good chunk of stuff. I found majority of like the notes. I found almost all. I unlocked the entire skill tree, and I found the majority of like the floof, I think is what they call them. Like that's the thing you need to like. That's like the points you need to like buy the skills.
Right.
But I almost recommend like if you're not feeling the combat, or if it's like kind of weighing down on you after like a few hours or a few chapters, just go in accessibility and just turn it off. Like honestly, just skip the random, but do the boss battles. Boss battles are like pretty fun and pretty cool. Like they're not like incredibly like challenging or like super like crazy hard, or like there's a pattern to them, but like man, like the build up to these like boss fights are awesome. Like because like they play music about the thing you're about to fight, and it's almost like fucking like what's the guy that does like the soundtrack to like Toy Story, like it's almost like the Family Guy skit where he's like they're making fun
Paul
of
Newman.
is it Paul? No, is it Paul? Yeah, Paul. Okay. But like it's like there's that Family Guy skit of like they meet like Randy Newman. Yeah, thank you. And they meet Randy Newman, and he's he's singing songs on the piano, but he's just narrating what's happening. Where he's like, the lady grabs an apple, she looks at the apple, she takes a bite, one bite, two bites. It's like that, but like really well done music. But it's like explaining like the lore of the character, but like this really jazzy blues style. And like man, like they put the soundtrack out on like Spotify and YouTube, and I cannot wait to like I'm gonna deep dive the lore of like the South, because like it is, some of the shit in here is really really well done, and I really like it. Like I'm gonna like, it's like when I played God of War, and I just got really into Norse mythology for like a year. And like I just like I watched a fuck ton of YouTube videos for like a year straight on just like learning all the lore of Norse mythology. Maybe I won't get that crazy into it, but I'm gonna watch. I can't wait to do that and like listen to like the soundtrack, because it is beautiful. Some of these songs here, and like so, like, but I just love the like all the build up to like when you like going to like fight the boss. They just play them like the music really ramps up and is brilliant, and it's so well done. Like I said, the voice acting, like Hazel is a really great character. Her mom is awesome. Like the main villain of the story, I really like them, and like kind of like where it's going, and like they all kind of tie in together of like what is leading you to the series of events. Basically, like they live in like the deep south. There's a hurricane happening, and like basically like Hazel's mom gets taken away in the like in the hurricane, and Hazel's trying to find her mom, and along the way she finds out basically like she's a weaver, so like she can control strands, and that's how she uses to fight. And she has these abilities and stuff like that. And that's what kind of leads to her. Like she's healing. Basically, she's going on and like healing the world like that's been damaged and trying to like help these basically like these like Two Toe Tom and all these like hug them all these characters that you meet along. I don't want to spoil too much, but like I was completely blown away by like how like I think everything beside the combat in this game to me is like a 9 out of 10, but the combat is like a 6.5 out of 10. Like, but I would say like and like just finding the notes. I love reading the notes of like getting a more background and more details of like the lore of these characters, of like these of like the folklore you're learning about of like Tuto Tom and there's a few. I don't want to like I said I don't want to talk about the other ones, but like yeah, I was completely blown away and like it was like when I talked about like the last week or a couple weeks ago where I was kind of like in a media funk of like I have all these TV shows and like all these games I want to play, but I'm like overwhelmed by all of them. And it was just kind of nice to have this like game that's like it's like I said, it's like 9.5, 10 hours, and it's so easy to like just get going and like not stopping. And like because the chapters are pretty short, so like you feel like it's just like the little mental thing where like I feel like I'm progressing a lot more because of like some of the chapters are like 10, 15 minutes, some of them are like 30, 40 minutes. Um, and like the game, it's just like it's not like so overwhelming of like this giant open world game or some like 80-hour fucking JRPG. You know, it's just like this like it's a double A 9, 10 hour game, and like I love this game. I think it is so well done. I hope that like I think honestly like I wish it would like maybe double down on the platforming and maybe like maybe more made it more of a puzzle platformer style game instead of trying to make it like it got rid of the combat. Maybe keep the boss fights. I actually like the boss fights. Boss fights are pretty cool, but really just like focus on the platforming parts of it. And I feel like this game might have been like a I don't want to say like game of the year contender, like this is like people's #1 game of the year, but I feel like it could have been in the conversation, like one of those games. Like when I get to the end of the year, this is gonna be a game that's gonna like be on my top 10 list, and like for me, it still might, but I don't like. I feel like it's gonna be one of those like bottom of the top 10 list, but like it's still like way more than like what I thought this game was, and I was excited for this game going in, and like I was still like at the end when I came away from it, I was like, man, this game is really cool. Like I said, it's gonna be one of those games where I'm gonna like. There's a lot of games out there I just beat, I never think about again, or like I barely think about it ever again. This is gonna be a game I'm gonna think about, like at the end of the year. Like I said, like 6 months from now, like this is gonna be one of those like this soundtrack is so good that like it might be one of my new like soundtracks. I like every week when I put the show notes together, I listen to video game music, and this might be like my new like video game soundtrack I listen to while I put the show notes together because it's that fucking good. But and you know me, Gables, I'm a sucker for great video game music. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's all I've been playing. I did buy a couple other games, a couple like smaller indie games. I bought Promise Mascot Agency. They just came out this week. Looks really cool.
Okay.
And then Kiora, Kiora, I think is how I say it. I bought those both on PlayStation. A couple cool indie games that when you play as a dog. So I was immediately in.
Oh.
That just came out last week as well. So yeah, I'm gonna try to play through some of those because Expedition 33 is coming out. I think in next week or 2 weeks. It's coming fast. So I'm gonna play through some of those here soon. But and then oh my god, Last of season 2 starts tonight. So that's fuck yeah, let's go. It's a good month to be Tyler. But anyways, Gables, that's all I've been playing. What about you, buddy?
Okay, so I've been going down to the well of like turning on my PS5 and then just checking through what I got down on my system and see what I want to play. Um, what's kind of hilarious is like I started getting into like a binge of someone playing these older Konami game stuff. So it's like I got the Contra collection and got like the TMNT stuff I downloaded on PSM Plus and stuff like that. So what was hilarious, like after the workday this past week, I've been just like chipping away little bits of like Contra, like Contra Hard Corps and stuff in specific. The hardest balls game in terms of like that was on the Genesis way back in the day. But I started watching a couple streamers earlier on this week, or was it last week? Like just started playing random Sega games and stuff, and they were playing they were playing like Switch Online stuff. And so both of them decided, oh, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and try to play Contra Hard Corps and stuff. And they only lasted like about 5 minutes or so like that of trying to play that because they're trying to navigate around things and like
Gables,
they kept getting killed
I
and
gotta cut you
never
off real
even
fast.
finished the first level.
I gotta cut you off real fast. I'm sorry.
What?
There's nothing wrong with only lasting about 5 minutes. Go continue on.
In terms of this video game, I mean, I think it's kind of hilarious though because it's just the type of difficulty that Contra Hard Corps has when you first start off the game. Because there's a lot of things that get thrown at you first thing. You got a lot of enemy projectiles. You got a lot of like enemies you got to keep track of and this and that and stuff. And then sooner or later you get to like a mid boss right in that first stage and stuff, to where you could see him in the background, right? I mean, this dude's like a giant freaking robot that's like absolutely laying devastation and stuff, like, and all of a sudden it's like he sees you out in the distance and he just goes from the foreground, it goes from the background all the way up to like where you're standing on these platform of like freaking buildings, right? And this giant robot's just like peeping through and stuff. You have to shoot at him and do this and do that and stuff. But in terms of like a lot of the action stuff, I mean, dude, this feels great. It feels great to play. I mean, yeah, it's plenty difficult, but at the same point, facing off against some of these like sub bosses and stuff, and facing off against the first couple of bosses from the first couple of stages, I've had a fun time trying to memorize a lot of their different patterns and also try to like just try to take them out without having to waste all of my lives and stuff. So I've been trying to do it sort of like an old school sort of style, to where I have a specific amount of lives and stuff that I could use before my game is completely over. So I've set it to where I get 5 continues. So if all my lives are like depleted or something like that, it goes over to the game over screen and stuff, and then like you do the game, you get the continue, right? And so I've managed to get through the first 2 levels. The second level, man, it's like you get a chance to choose between which level you want to go to next, right? It branches. There's like two these branching paths. So one will go to one direction, one can go to the opposite direction. The one choice I chose was to go back to the research facility because there was an SOS or something after the end of the first mission. So I chose to do that instead of chasing after a rogue operative that went off the separate direction that I could have followed and did something completely different. And so the second stage consisted of me like just riding on top of this freaking giant like no, this giant helicopter, right? But yet you're in the sky, you're hanging on, right? And you have all these enemies that are like just trying to shoot at you and stuff. And you're just trying to jump around, just take them out in the sky and stuff. And it's like nonstop action scenes after action scene after action stuff, going on and stuff. I mean, that's been some of the more memorable stuff from what I've played so far with the hard corps. But I've just had a craving just to wanted to play it because I've had a passing interest of it. It looks fun, but the only ever type of Contra game I've played is the original, and I've played through and I've beaten the original, and so I kind of wanted to delve into the realm. And I know I've played a little bit of Contra 3 on the Super Nintendo version and stuff,
There was
but
that one
the
you
crux.
played for Extra Life a couple years ago.
Yes, there was. That was the one you and I and Nerves played a little bit of.
Yeah, there's that.
And I know that I played one, like I think it was last year, the Contra Galuga or something like that, or whatever the
Yeah,
hell it
Galuga
was.
or something. Yeah.
Galuga. Yeah, you.
Yeah.
That's the one that we got the code for and stuff. I played a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of it and stuff, and that was fun to the extent. I just never got back to wanting to play through and finish it. But yeah, I mean, who knows? This is gonna be one of those games and stuff where I'm just gonna have a craving to me to play a little bit of it at a time and stuff and put it down and stuff. But the other thing I did end up playing was from the Turtles collection stuff, because I don't know why, but I've been really into playing a lot of these TMNT games as of late. So I decided to, like about 2 weeks ago, play through the entirety of the Game Boy game, like Follow the Foot Clan. I remember that game. I remember playing that as a kid. Like one of my cousins, I think, allowed me to play this game as a kid and stuff like that. I was 5 years old. I managed to go through the entirety of the game and I beat it and stuff. And I remember a lot of the different secrets of the game. Like there's certain levels that you can go, like jump into a specific corner and it transfers you to like a bonus stage and this and that. And it's not long either. It's like 5 stages. So you begin like in New York City and then you work your way up to the Technodrome and stuff where you face off against like Shredder and stuff. It maybe lasts about 30 to 45 minutes, in terms of the gameplay stuff. But I played through that. I decided to go through the all the different versions of the TMNT Tournament Fighters games. So like from the NES, the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, just to go back and just see how I feel about them now. Now that I've it's been like over a year or something since I played those on the Switch, and so I replayed them and stuff. I still have some of the same feelings I had when I played through them initially. Only I thought it was really hilarious that I started to find all sorts of exploits, like how to beat like certain characters and stuff. The NES game is hard as balls. I will say that now. It's one of those early fighting games before like the later NES games and stuff, but the Super Nintendo had a lot of like refined fighting games on that platform, right? And so this one you only deal with like two buttons, right? So the jump and the attack button and this and that, but you can do like directional attacks and stuff to use on your enemies and stuff. The hardest thing about that was trying to get over a bunch of the CPU doing like input reads. So it's like you think you would be able to go and like do a select combo and stuff, but the computer completely reads what you're doing, has a counter to almost everything. And it got frustrating to a point where I had to just resort to try to do save state stuff between rounds and stuff because I did not want to go it all over again to the next point. But I managed to beat the NES one. The Genesis one though, that one was even more hilarious because I absolutely found this exploit to where if I gang up on my opponent and I threw him in a corner, I could literally do almost an infinite number of chain grab and throws. So I do a couple attacks against my opponent in the corner. I go and I hold the D-pad in the direction where my opponent's facing, right? And it goes into a throw animation. And so once he goes up in the air and stuff after being attacked and stuff, it goes down again. I do the same thing. So it's like the D-pad in the direction plus the grab button and stuff and do another throw. And I do that repeatedly up until I end up ending the round and stuff. I use that exploit like a couple of different times and stuff, but oh my gosh. I played through the game the regular way, found out that I have to play it on a harder difficulty in order to beat the game, so I had to do it again with the same character. And they have a bunch of different characters you can select from the Genesis one as compared to the NES one. The NES one you get to choose as the four turtles, and at least for the enhancements for this collection, you can play as the boss characters. So you can play as like Casey Jones, I think, and like Hothead and like just old random like Turtles characters. For the Genesis one, you get to play like a couple characters never heard before. Like say, there's this one character by the name of Ray that's just a gigantic manta ray and stuff, and then there's one that's called Sisyphus, but he's like just a giant like Hercules beetle and stuff. But yeah, you get the characters that you would think that you'd be able to play as. Like the four turtles, April O'Neil, like Casey Jones, I think was also one. Oh, the gameplay itself isn't bad. It's just it the AI, just the AI in all three of these games can be a pain in the ass because the game forces you to play past a certain difficulty in order to completely like just beat the game in and of itself with one character. But the Super Nintendo one I had the least amount of issues with, and it felt like it was the best playing out of all three versions. I could basically kind of play it how I could like with Street Fighter 2, to where I just do different directions with the D-pad and stuff, and then some characters would have charge attacks, and then some would have like regular projectiles. I mean, playing as Leonardo, he literally has a projectile and stuff to where if you do a quarter circle in a quarter circle in the punch button, kind of like how you do Ryu's Hadouken and stuff, he does his own variation. Only he just slices both of his swords, and all of a sudden, like you have this flash or something like that. A projectile just pops up out of his swords like a Hadouken. And there's that. He has also another move and stuff to where he just literally does a spin move or something with his swords going towards his opponent. But trying to execute that consistently without getting your ass handed to you was difficult. Trying to get and also get to the final portion of that game was also difficult. So what I've learned is like a bunch of the save states for those games were the most ideal because the AI is complete garbage when it comes to difficulty. They have not aged that great, obviously, because there's been even better fighting games released since that time. But the last two I've played from there and beat. I played the arcade game, the TMNT arcade game. I decided to try out like the enhancements of this stuff because before I didn't. I just did like extra lives and stuff, and I managed to beat the game and stuff. I did what it's called God mode, to where you're only damaged by specific things, but yeah, you pretty much can like kill everything like a one hit and this and that. Even with that turned on, there was so many different annoyances I came across, and that was because there's so many enemies that like to spawn on the screen and just attack you, and it locks into certain animations to where the enemies will just try and just combo attack you and stuff, like two or three different hits before you can even react to some spots. Kind of like the old cheap arcade difficulty because they wanted you to put quarters in as a kid. So that pops up like throughout the entire duration. The most positive part is the game isn't too long, right? So the old TMNT arcade game was like 5 or 6 levels long. You begin like in the New York's inside of like the April's apartment complex and stuff, and then you face off against, I think it's Bebop or something like that. Bebop or Rocksteady or something. It's like one of the first bosses you face, and then towards the end of the game, it's like face off against Shredder and stuff, and like Krang and stuff. But what's hilarious is the last game I ended up beating from that TMNT collection as of this moment was the NES port of the arcade game, TMNT 2. And what's hilarious about it is there's a couple of added levels to it, and it plays, and honestly, it feels like it plays better in some aspects than the arcade game because you don't have as many enemies on the screen that you have to maintain, like keep track of. And on top of that, it just feels like you could pretty much breathe without getting too over, like just too difficult, feeling like you couldn't like do anything consistently. But yeah, I ended up beating like about no, what, four, one, two, three, four, 5 TMNT games in the span of this past week. I just felt like I wanted to do it. I may go like on the day after we record this and stuff, obviously, and play through the entirety of TMNT Turtles in Time, because Turtles in Time, I've never played through that game in its entirety on the SNES, and I just want to just go and beat it for the first time. I've heard so much great things about it. I've only got to the extent to where I finally go back in time, and I think the prehistoric level was the one I left off of. So it's time for me to actually finish that one. But other than that, though, that's what I've been playing. Retro
All right.
stuff as usual.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, and all that. Like I said, top show. Please subscribe to us, like our show, follow us wherever you listen to us on podcasts at. Please, uh, 5-star reviews, likes, thumbs up, whatever you can do to help us out. We really appreciate it. Share with your friends. Best thing you can do is go to YouTube, subscribe to us over there, like, thumbs up the show, leave comments, helps us with the algorithm. But yeah, I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah,
Too sweet.
too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.